So
Okay.
I'm gonna kickstart with the boring stuff, guys. Just while people are logging in, I might get distracted if I am admitting people in. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put on my video now to say hi to everyone. I've met most of you through the community, but hi to the new ones as well, and welcome to the community. I'm going to keep my video off because I don't know if you guys heard about the Red Sea cable cuts and stuff, but there's been like a lot of network issues within India, especially Asia has been affected. So I'm going to keep my video off just so that we can focus on, Heer, and she doesn't have any lag in her thing. So just before I put the video off, hi, and thank you for coming up in your Saturday morning, everyone. I'm going to start with the housekeeping rules. Please do keep yourselves on mute so we don't disturb the speaker. Video is optional, but you should know that it is being recorded and it goes on YouTube. It's not publicly advertised, but a lot of people might obviously see it. So if you're uncomfortable, please do consider keeping your video off. Just for the to keep the pace of the presentation and workshop, I would appreciate if we can keep the Q&A till the end. You will see a link up top. Please ask your questions there. I will be posting those questions to Heer at the end, which are at the 45-minute mark. I will interrupt her or any of the moderators here, which is Gunja and Karishma. They will also, if I'm not available, they will interrupt her and ask the questions that need to be asked. And so, unless the question is hindering your understanding of the lecture, of what he is talking about, then you can put it in the chat and one of the moderators will interrupt and point it out to Heer, because she's not going to be following the chat, right? She's going to be presenting. And my favorite one, which is the last point in our housekeeping rules, please use the emojis at the bottom of your screen to show us and show everyone and the speaker that you are agreeing, disagreeing. So use the thumbs up to agree, thumbs down if you don't agree, heart if you love what she's saying. So yeah, we like that kind of interaction. FAQ, yes, we are recording and you will get the link afterwards. If you've registered through Luma, you should get the link in the feedback, which goes, I think, on Monday. So you will get that link, and we will be putting it up in our community, etc. So it will be there. And if there is any presentations if there if there is any presentation that he would like to share at the end, I will share that with everyone else. So one and last final point: this event is for women only, and this is done by our AI community, so which is women only. So, and if you would like to join or anything, please email me back on any of the Luma invites that you got for this event, and I will add you in. So moving on, I'm going to do a quick intro. So this event has been hosted by AI Enthusiast Circle, and we are a group of women. You don't have to be from a technical background. Sorry, here, do you say something?
No, no, I was just going back to my tab and just checking.
Okay, okay.
Continue.
Yeah. So we are a community of women who are just learning together, growing together in this new age of AI. There are a lot of tools that are coming out. You don't have to be from a technical background. We have women from all sorts of verticals coming in and sharing knowledge. It's a really great space. Now we have multiple channels as well. So you can talk about marketing, you can talk about tech specific jobs. And this year we even started offline. Actually, today the Delhi offline meetup is happening at 4 p.m. We're quite excited about that. It's going to be the first one. We had our Bombay one a couple of months ago. So we are starting to open offline chapters and stuff. So it's becoming quite a nice community to meet like-minded women and share your knowledge and learn from each other. So that's it for AIEC. And now coming to the speaker, Heer Shingala, I met through actually one of the other AI communities, and she was talking a lot about n8n on the chat. So I just messaged her and I was like, hey, would you like to talk to us about n8n? Because I think that's been like a massively hot topic in our community. And a lot of people have been asking for a workshop. So Heer, thank you so much for coming out and doing this for us on a Saturday. And obviously, thank you for everyone who's attending to come up on a Saturday and do this with us. Here used to be in marketing before, and now she's actually gone full on automation consultant, and she can help you out to like automate your workflows and everything. And n8n is her specialty. So I'm quite excited about this workshop. And as I mentioned, ask a question at that link. I have also put the link in the chat. So you can just click on it, post your question there. I can see the questions. And when we're ready, when Heer is done, I will post everyone's questions up and put that across to Heer. So over to you, Heer.
Awesome. Thank you, Neha. We have 1 hour and I have a lot of things to cover. So I am going to jump right into it. Okay. So this is essentially the agenda for today. I'm quickly going to explain how uh, what n8n workflows are, how they work. We'll get into the live build. I will build out every single part in front of you, and then we'll do a quick Q&A. So pretty straightforward. Uh, Before I jump into what AI workflows is, like it's very important to understand the difference between automation, workflow, and agent. And this is something you might remember if you've attended one of my previous sessions, because I love bringing this slide up. Automation is something that we've been using since forever. If you have a website where if somebody fills a form and you get an email that hey, somebody has filled a form, or if you ever worked with Google Universe, where you set up a Google form and all the responses are captured in a Google sheet, that is already an automation. Or if you send when you newly set up a Slack account and they say, hey, do you want an email every time someone mentions you in this channel, and you're like, yeah, of course, that is already an automations. Automations have been around for at least 10 years for most of us. It's a very straightforward logic where there's a simple input and there's a simple output. As you can see, it's reliable outcomes, it's very fast, it's very explicitly stated what is the input and output, and uh, there's no complexity, no logic or anything like that. So that is an automation. The example given here: send a Slack notification every time a new lead signs up. Now, the moment it becomes a workflow is when there's some amount of Boolean or fuzzy logic. It's any task that requires some amount of flexibility. The way I like to think of it is anytime you use OpenAI, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, any of these other AI models to sort of manipulate any of the data in your workflow, that becomes an AI workflow. So,
Heer,
say you
sorry to interrupt you. Someone's
yeah,
asking
yeah.
if you could expand the slide a little. Thank you.
Okay. Um, Say you want to look at every lead that's coming in, you want to consider, okay, what is the budget of that lead? Depending on that, will it go to the founder, will it go to one of the sales associates, something like that. Anywhere where ChatGPT is doing some basic thinking, give based on a prompt that you've already set for it. So you can say that, okay, if their budget is more than $5,000, ensure that my founder is in, or my head of sales is paying attention. That's an example of an AI workflow. Or if you're looking at if you're building like a reader's digest where you're asking your workflow to go through like a bunch of research papers and news on a certain topic, and then you are asking ChatGPT to sort of like set it up for you in a way that you get a summary, or if a very specific thing within that larger topic is mentioned, you get an alert or an email or something like that, and you're asking basically using any LLM, it becomes an AI workflow. AI agents are a lot more complex. They're very human stimulating workflows. Um, if you ask a workflow to say conduct a whole internet search for you, you ask it to do some a web search, or you ask it to do some very they're a little less reliable. People are still struggling to build them. They take a lot of money and effort to build, and they're the AI makes decisions. So in workflows, AI will not make decisions. It will filter things, or it will decide things based on the conditions you've set. So you make a box, and then the workflow will work within those conditions. Whereas AI agents, it's a little more fuzzy, and then there's no end to how autonomous AI agents can be. So today I'm going to show you how to build an AI workflow. Automations you've already been using, you already know what those are. So what can AI workflows do? uh, they essentially trigger, so they'll start automatically. You can set them to work when something changes on the internet, when something changes in your data source. So like your HubSpot form is a HubSpot form is filled, somebody visits your website goes down, you can schedule them to work on a certain at a certain time on a certain day, things like that. So the trigger is essentially anything you set it up for to be. They'll essentially collect data input from any APIs or databases. That can literally be anything. You can collect it from Perplexity, you can collect it from any of the other publicly available APIs, your own data systems. The third part would be, sorry, they transform and manipulate data. So you might want to change around, say somebody fills a form and you want to add them to your email list. So you don't want to say, hey Heer Shingala, thank you for signing up. That sounds off, right? So if you remove the part, you remove the second name and just say Heer, or uh, anything, like you change the data a little bit, or you mix a few data points to s- write something, that's basic processing of the data. Then there's a routing of the data. So for the what I explained before, and similar to what we're going to build today, that if the budget is very high, of the client, of the lead or something, it essentially goes to the founder or the head of sales. And if the budget is low, so it, based on certain conditions, it routes data. If somebody says that, hey, no, I'm just exploring, you might not want to nudge that person, or you have too much work, you don't want to entertain that client, you'll add them to a newsletter. So if logic, if this is the condition, send them here. If this is the condition, send them here. Might also apply to customer service, right? if um if a specific client, if your most important client is complaining, you might want to set up like a voice agent and have a call go out to your engineering team to ensure that even if they are not around their computer, it's a red alert situation, things like that. Execute, so it will perform predefined actions, as I explained before, across systems, across apps, across platforms. It will do predefined things. Okay, X happened, send an email. Y happened, update my CRM. Z happened, notify my team. Things like that are again what AI workflows can do. And last, integrate. So it can essentially connect every single tool out there. If the tool is not like n8n doesn't support that tool, there's always slightly more technical ways to go around it. You add like a webhook, um, and things like that, and set up your own automation. So basically it connects, but most likely it will exist. What Zapier is most known for, right? Like it will integrate, it will connect different tools and help them work together, help them talk to each other. uh, we're gonna okay let I think this will get confusing if I go through this, so I'll keep moving between these two slides. What are the components of an AI workflow? So in this today's example, we might not cover all of these, but I'll take you through each of them. So trigger, as I explained, is how and when the workflow starts. What we're going to build today is uh, we set up a Google form. You connect it to Google Sheets, right? Like the responses are captured in a Google Sheets. This is something most of us are familiar with. Now, instead of the Google form, it can be a website form. I'll explain how that works later. But for this example, let's just assume our clients are seeing the Google form. Now, every time they fill a Google form, a row gets added to the Google Sheets, right? It's everybody's familiar with that. Can I get a thumbs up if most of us are, or should I cover that? Okay, I'm getting mostly. Yeah, so basically, whenever someone fills a form, that data gets added to your Google Sheets. As soon as that happens, we wait for a few minutes just so it this is a wait trigger, so this is a trigger.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry. I think Kashish wants to interrupt.
Yeah,
So it
Kashif.
might be an important question. She's raised her hand. Oh no.
No, no, sorry, it was my mistake.
Okay, okay, okay. Thanks.
Okay, so Google Sheets trigger, instead of that, it can also be that check every morning. So if you're setting up like an invoice thing, you might want to say that every morning 9 a.m. check my Google Sheets, which has my finance data, ki kisne who has not filled their paid their invoices, and go send them an email in the morning. So for something like that, you can set it like it is, then it won't be a Google Sheets trigger, then it will be a time trigger that every morning 9 a.m. that so the trigger can be time, the trigger can be webhook. So whenever someone fills something on the website, the trigger can be checking a certain database. If something is added, Airtable, any other HubSpot sheets, anything like that, right? The second part is nodes. These are the building blocks, and nodes is what any workflow or even agent for that matter is made up. So each one of these you see here, each one of these is a single node. And what you see here, this blue item, this green line, these are all called connectors, which essentially connect every nodes and decide where everything will go up. I'll give you an example. These connectors are very important. So when you set this up, you add one node and then you connect it and then add another node. I recently went for Vipassana, and I set up like few emails to go out to some people, and I forgot to connect this node. So here it was checking every day. Okay, every day 9 a.m. what emails do I have to send? But it just did not look at my Google Sheets, and then it just went away. So tests are very important. Connecting every single node correctly is very important. I came back and none of my emails were sent. I felt very silly. So we saw nodes and connections. The third is data. What we see here, right? Like it's going to collect data, it's going to wait, and it's going to send that data along with some other data, along with a prompt to OpenAI. So it essentially data travels through every single workflow that you'll build. There's logic, not much of logic here. The only logic we've done here is wait, but we might also have that. Okay, check all the data on Google Sheets. Certain data will get processed like this, certain data will not consider only. So you might want to set a date thing here, that any form submissions before certain date we don't want to consider, or any entries are closed, any form submissions after certain date you don't want to consider. So you might want to like drop off. So if this happens, if that happens, or split it sometimes. So here we're going to work with a very small number, but say you're working with thousands of entries, it's one of those forms, right? You might not want to send all of them at one point to ChatGPT, because you'll hit token limits, you'll hit those sort of things, you might hit like API outages, things like that. So in that case, there is a mechanism where you can do one at a time. So that is again something, those are called logic loops, conditions, and branch. That is something you will learn as you build them. And it has some 7 8 logic nodes. They keep adding or merging sometimes, but that's mostly something you'll explore on a case by case basis. We're only looking at the weight one today. And integrations is essentially like what we're doing today, right? Like we're going to connect n8n to the Google Sheets API. We're going to connect it to our OpenAI API key, Gmail, this sheet again, Slack again. So these are all the integrations. uh, I am going to jump to, okay, we're going to start building now. How much? Okay, we used 20 minutes or all this. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to set up the credentials for you, but I'm still going to explain how it works. So before we build all of these, right, this is the exact workflow we're going to build. We need to set up credentials, which is basically giving n8n permission to talk to each of these apps, right? It's a very security issue, it's a very sensitive thing to have the right credentials in place. Now, earlier, if you look up actually on YouTube how to connect n8n to Google Sheets, you're going to see a 5 minute video. It's going to take you to like Google API, make a new project, and all those things fortunately for us, n8n is continuously working on improving, making those credentials, making those permissions easy. It has finally caught on to the fact that if you have a password, you should be allowed to do that credential. So now it's become very one click credential. So if you see here, um, this is the n8n instance, guys. This is my n8n instance. So these are all the workflows I have. Some of them are live, some of them aren't. If you go to credentials here, basically I was able to do set up all of these with one click. Some of these took a lot more time. So connecting Twitter took time. Appify, I had to get a API key. But the ones we are using today, it simply has, you go here, you create a credential, and you say Google Sheets. So OAuth 2 or whatever, you can use either, but I prefer the first one. Continue, and then you just sign in with Google. Here you go, you connect to, you see your normal sign in Google, which we do across all platforms, and that will give you a connection to Google. Similarly, it works the exact same way for Slack. So because I want to like focus on the workflow more, I'm going to skip, I did not plan to do that, but I'm going to skip the credentials for now. But they're easy and you should be able to follow most of them. uh, we'll jump to setting up the nodes directly. So this, I had built this workflow. I'm going to delete it and we're going to do it all over again so we can see how every single node workflow is uh, done. uh, Always make sure you save your workflows. The tab will prompt you to do that every time you try to leave the tab, but try to remember to do it. It still doesn't support auto saving, but it should soon. So as we saw, the first step is adding the Google Sheets. Now let's look at the Google form that we've built. This is my Google form. Okay. I'm collecting, it's for a lead management system. Essentially, what we're building here is for a agency that builds out web design, web dev, e-com, those things. Uh, and this form will be on their website. They'll collect the name, email, phone number is optional. Uh, we'll ask what services they are in. They can fill one or more of these. We'll ask them the project timeline, and we'll ask them the budget. Now, the project timeline and the budget are two important questions here because they are going to sort of help our workflow decide how high alert, whether it's a low alert lead or a red alert lead, and who it should go to.
Sorry,
And
he
yeah,
sorry, he to interrupt you here. This Google form you are creating on Google Drive itself, the usual way we all
yeah,
create Google forms.
absolutely. Exactly. So you generally you go here and you should be able to like, it's very yeah, it's a normal Google form. There's nothing fancy about it. And if you want to like add it to your website or something, there's a, sorry, where was it? Yeah, it's here. So essentially, if you take this embed HTML, you should be able to add this to whatever website you have. Webflow, Netlify, WordPress supports any of this, right? But for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to use the Google form here. Now, I'll take the responder. Sorry. Where are the response? Sorry, here are the responses. Yeah. I'm going to link it to a Google sheet. So when you here, when you set up a Google form, it lets you add these questions. And when you go to responses, essentially the responses come here, but you have the option of connecting it to a Google sheet, which is what we're going to do here. You can also get an email for new responses. But in this case, we're not, we just, our workflow is capable of looking at these Google Sheets. So that's what we're going to do. As soon as you click here, it will allow you to create a new spreadsheet. Click on create, give it a second. And here it automatically opens a Google sheet where all of your questions are here. If you see, every single question is here. So as and when somebody fills our form, it will come here. Now we're going to add two bits to our Google sheet, which is going to act as our CRM in this case. Add one column. This is going to be tags. Because we want to assign a tag value and importance value to every single lead that comes in. And I'm going to say status of contact, just for explanation I'm writing, but this is essentially going to tell us whether or not this lead has been contacted through workflow. So what you see here is going to work, touch wood, but sometimes if your workflow doesn't work and uh, you fail to send out an email to the lead, or you fail to contact the lead, uh, you will be able to come to the sheet and see that our workflow indeed did not work. If it's blank, or if it's something or if we set a error message, you'll know whether or not they have been contacted. So until this column, everything is going to be filled by s with the lead. Tags and status, these are two columns that our workflow is going to fill. And is everybody with me so far? We're getting a little complex. Okay. I saw Neha's thumbs up.
Yeah, don't
Cool.
worry, no questions in the chat. So
Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. I'm just going to fill out this form. Sorry, I'll fill out this form later. Let's build a workflow first. First, we will, when you set up the first node, you can either set it up with this plus sign, or you can set it up with this plus sign. Uh, Click here, and I'm going to add the trigger. Trigger manually means that every time you click on it, it works. We don't, this is usually used while setting up tests. Triggers on form submission, as you see here, webhook calls, these are all the trigger options. Trigger is what will get the workflow started. In this case, we're going to trigger with a Google Sheet. So I'll just type here Google Sheets, and I see three options. When a row is added, which is what happens when a form is filled. When a row is updated, which is, say you have leads coming in, but you have somebody sitting who's uh, going to decide whether or not this data should go to the n8n workflow. In that case, you might let them do use a drop down. So every time they use the drop down and say, okay, send to n8n, only in that case it goes to n8n. So in those cases, you might want to use row updated, or you might want to set it to row added or updated. In this case, it's very simple. We're going to ask our workflow to look at the Google Sheets every time a new lead comes in and a row is added. We want it to we wanted to send us the data. So I clicked on row is added. Automatically, as you see here, my Google Sheets account is connected. I showed you how to do that before. I'm setting it to check the workflow every single minute. Here, I can also ask him to check every week, in which case it will say, okay, what day do you want, or what hour do you want? If I say every month again, right, like it will tell me what day of the month I want to check it. Automatically, that part will change. But we want to keep it every minute. It doesn't cost extra. You will not pay extra for running it every minute. So we'll just make sure to do that. Now document is where we're going to choose the so when you connect the Google Sheets trigger, it brings all of your Google Sheets that are on this Gmail account here. So you can scroll and you'll find all of your Google Sheets. I have a bunch for it if I have been playing around with it, but in this case, you can just pick this, the latest, right? Sorry, I know this is the latest because we just built it. And from there, the form responses one, which is the only Google sub sheet that we have. So this says document, but this means sheet, and this says sheet, but it means sub sheet. trigger on row added, which was already set. And any of these, in this case, we don't need it. So we're just gonna ask it to fetch a test event. But because we still haven't filled any Google form, there's nothing here. I'm going to fill this out. Let's say Jim Harper. I'm going to put my email instead of Jim's so I can show you uh, the response. But here you should be putting Jim's email. I'll put phone number, services interested in, let's say web dev, web design, and SEO. You can also pick just one or two, but essentially, yeah. A project timeline. Now let's see what a high importance lead gets us. So we'll say ASAP, and we'll say the budget is more than $10,000, and we'll say this is for my boss. He's made a new movie called Threat Level Midnight. Want to promote it with a website and do some SEO. Okay, everyone with me so far? We are adding additional comments. This might be blank. Our workflow will be able to work, draft an email irrespective of whether or not this is blank. So as soon as I submit this, it got added here in the sheet that we had just made. Everything got added except for the tag and the status of the content, because those things our n8n workflow is going to fill out. So we'll go to the workflow where we see sorry. Okay guys, I think, sorry, what has happened is I did a few tests. That's why we saw like a few uh, sheets and it's picked the wrong sheet. That is my mistake. I'm going to go ahead and pick the right sheet. Okay, so the mistake I made here is I had quite a few sheets called this. I'm going to collect the right sheet, connect the right, like an example, right? Like if your sheets have duplicate names, it is going to mess up. Here, now it worked immediately. It said it got me this sheet, right? Now, what I'm going to do here is pin this data. Making you are going to set up, what I recommend is that after every node you set up, you do tests to ensure that that node is working perfectly well, right? On the left you will see the input for the node, on the right you see the output. Here left was nothing because this is our first node, the right is the output. Now whenever you get favorable output, the one you are looking for, it means that everything is set up correctly here. So by pinning this pin icon you see here, by pinning that, you ensure that you don't have to run this node again because you already know it works. This is a little bit advanced n8n tip that I'm sharing here. And when you pin it, you will see this blue thing, and it essentially makes sure that the next we have the data ready for the next node. Because if while setting up the next node, you might face like errors, right? Now if you do face errors, you don't want to have to run the first node every single time. Yes, Anupama, it's getting recorded. You'll get all of it. Okay, so next node I added. So you don't need to do this, but you need to make sure this line is green and connected. You click here or you click here, either of these plus signs, and we'll add our next node, which is the wait node. Now, if people fill out a form and they immediately get like a personalized email, they are going to tell that it is an AI email, right? Like, and it feels a little weird. So what I like to add is a little bit of a wait time, uh, because we are going to spend a lot of time and effort to ensure that the email doesn't read like a machine. It reads natural, it reads human. So if we send it immediately, it sort of beats the purpose. Raat ko 3 baje they filled out a form and they immediately got an email. Doesn't make sense, right? So after a time interval, essentially, the workflow will wait. Wait amount is 5. Waits unit is seconds. If I turn to this to minutes, it immediately becomes 5 minutes. I recommend I recommend 30 minutes at least, and turning off this workflow at night or something like that. But for this, because I don't want you guys to wait for 5 minutes, we're going to set it as 5 seconds. So if 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See, this is an item, it's empty, but essentially it just waits because we forgot to connect this. Now I connect this and then I run it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. See, then it gets all of this data. Always remember to connect your nodes, otherwise you'll be like, kya error ho raha hai? And yeah, it's just weird sometimes. So yeah, once it waits, we want it to go to OpenAI, right? I have already set up my OpenAI keys. Uh, for this, guys, you will not be able to use regular, you pay $20. That is not the OpenAI that you use here. This is called an API account, which is the developer keys. I don't know how many non-technical people here are here, but it's very straightforward and fairly cheap for something like this. But you'll need like a developer account. OpenAI lets us do a bunch of things, right? It lets you delete files, list files, create an assistant. So these are options for AI agents, which is what we are not building today. Text actions are what we're doing today. Message of model, classify text for like it lets you work with images as well. Bunch of things, right? For today, we're gonna ask it to message a model. So it's gonna what you get all the data, right? Somebody's filled a form. Normally what you would do is go to OpenAI, paste that, okay, this is the data, write a reply email to them. Now the workflow will do it for you. You don't need to do it, right? So we'll go to message a model. uh, I'm going to use my OpenAI account, but when you do set up a new n8n account, they will give you some free credits as well. Yes, Gunja?
Here, for those of us who don't have a OpenAI account right now, what can we use as an alternative to keep checking alongside you?
Claude, when you set up a new n8n account, they give you, that's what I was saying, they give you free OpenAI credits, which are
Okay.
more than adequate for this workflow.
Okay. Thank you. I missed that.
And you can always use Claude, DeepSeek. There are a bunch of cheaper ones as well. I just prefer OpenAI. So yeah, the resources we're using text, we're messaging the model and which model to pick. And this is a very simple, basic workflow where we're going to write a very detailed prompt. It doesn't really need to, we don't need GPT-5, we don't need anything fancy. So I'm going to use, this is confusing, okay? Like they have far too many options here. If you see, they have every single model they made for their internal purposes is also here. Like it's a little irritating, but I'm going to use GPT for mini something. Okay, let's see what mini I want to use. For mini also, there are a bunch of options. Okay, let's just use 4.0 mini. If you want to check how much they cost, you can always go over to OpenAI and see. Now I'll take you through the prompt that I've written. So I've written a really long prompt here. There's no limit as such to how long it can be. You are a lead nurturing assistant named Pam, working as a customer service representative for ABC Corp. Your job is to write a personalized professional email for a new lead who's filled out a website form. Always thank the lead, personalized based on their inputs, write in a warm, approachable but professional tone, end with a clear call to action, asking them, inviting them to ask questions or schedule a discovery call, sign off professionally as spam. Uh, this is important. So when we input the data, it'll have those lead names. It will take it from Google Sheets, right? So we want to make sure, just in case we like the AI hallucinates, that don't say things like "Hi lead name," "Hi, I want to build it for hi your company." So just for that, we'll clarify that always use the first name, or don't use like boxes, like don't use placeholders, and if any field is empty, gracefully skip it. I'll take you through the input data in a minute, and the output format in a minute, but I've also set lead classification rules here. So if it's more than 5,000 but less than 10,000, it's high value lead. If they mention that it's a consulting or something like that, if they mention the timeline is ASAP, these are the conditions that make it a high value lead. If the timeline is 1 to 3 months, if it's between 1 to 5,000, things like that, it's a medium value lead, and anything other than that, it's a low value lead. So this is also something our OpenAI is going to set the lead parameters, right? So I'm going to copy this. One sec. Okay. And we will go to our n8n workflow, where here, where they ask us to put the prompt, we'll put the prompt. Now, let me explain the input data bits, right? Uh, can everyone still see my screen and everything?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
sorry.
can.
I've just closed that pop-up, Gmeet pop-up, just closed it. So if there's anything, verbally stop me. So input data, say name, for example, right? Where will this OpenAI get the name? Here, our way, we can get it from Google Sheets, or wait, for the sake of cleanliness, this is the input data, this is the output data. We'll always drag and drop here. So I'll drag this full name and I'll drop it here, and it will get whatever name is here, not specifically Jim Harper, but anything. So this is something that people used to have to write JSON for this. The way n8n has evolved over the past 1 year, you don't need to write JSON. You do a lot of drag and drop building. You want to add email, right? So email, again, I'll write email here. And so for every single lead that comes in and every single message that goes to OpenAI, it will collect it for the specific lead that it is running in the current time. So email, I dragged and dropped everything. All of these info bits, you can just drag and drop here. These we got, there is a drop down here. If you want to say like what time it was received, it will, you can collect now as well, right? So I'm going to keep, but now you understand how I set the email, services interested in, budget range, project timeline, all of those things. You just drag and drop from here. Output format. Now we want to make sure that the output is JSON, because n8n primarily works with JSON, a little bit of Python, but prefers JSON. So we want to ensure that the output of what that OpenAI gives us is written in JSON. So we say return only valid JSON with subject, body, and tag, because these are the only three things that we need from OpenAI: subject of the new email, body of the email, and tag of the email, which is the high, low, or whatever. So tag also we've mentioned, choose exactly one of these. Body should be a fully personalized email message, and then the rest you guys saw, right? Like we we set the conditions for each of these leads. So I'm going to close this. This is the prompt that we set. Simplify output, just sort of make sure that it gives clean output, exactly what we've mentioned. We've also mentioned it here, but just to be sure, we're going to toggle this on. And here also we've mentioned that output should be JSON, but we're going to hard code it by clicking this again here, that output should be JSON. There are a bunch of other options here, but this is for a lot more technical things, right? Like um, max tool calls iteration, randomness, those things get more technical. For something as simple as working with text and content, you don't need any of these options, okay? So I'm going to click on execute step, and this lead along with this is going to go to OpenAI. Okay, we already have the result. uh, Hi, Jim. Thank you for reaching out and for your interest in our web dev services. I'm excited to learn about your boss's new movie and the opportunity to promote it. Given your timeline, we can explore options, help create a strong online presence. I'd love to discuss your specific profiles. Please feel free to ask questions or let me know if you'd like to discover schedule a discovery call. Looking forward to help you make threat level midnight a success, right? Like it wrote it on its own. I wrote the prompt in front of you. I did not do any pre-settings. It wrote this on its own. And because they mentioned that the timeline is ASAP and they are planning to spend about $10,000, it has set the lead as tag value as high value lead. Refusal basically means if OpenAI for some reason refuses to work with your prompt. Sometimes when you're working with more sensitive content, you know how OpenAI and Claude sometimes refuse, right? Like I will, this is against policy, etc. Those sort of things. So these are just ensuring that, letting you know that everything worked fine and here is the data. So you can go ahead and ignore those. Now I'm going to pin this here again. Always remember to pin your OpenAI data at least while building out the workflow, because you don't want to keep spending on tokens every single time you run it. Right now, if since this output is satisfactory, I am going to pin it. Now the next part.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you now because there are 10 minutes left. There's only one question that's come up in the Q&A. So I'm just going to ask if people can give a thumbs up if they're okay to go ahead, continue with the workshop and we prolong the Q&A. Because it's quite interesting and yeah, I see a lot of enthusiasm. So let's just continue. So I'm going to delay the Q&A for later and whoever's there, we can do it then.
Okay. I have very little left, but yeah. Okay, now as you remember from our workflow, we have three paths. We're going to send an email. The email that we wrote, it will go out via Gmail. We will also update our Slack team that somebody high value lead आई है XYZ. And we will go back to our Google Sheets trigger, our Google Sheet, and update the tag. And once the person is contacted, we will let them know that okay, they are contacted. So three things we're going to connect here. Now what we're going to see is here, it will go first. We'll connect the Gmail. Under Gmail, there's a bunch of options. Again, you can do a lot of label management, message creation, delete certain emails, bunch of things, right? What we're going to do here is send a message. Send a message to the email it will go to is something we're going to now see here. You see the inputs, right? So every single node ka output becomes an input here, because our email, we sent an email to ChatGPT, but we did not ask it to return an email. So we will collect our email from the Google Sheet itself. This for this specific node, we'll collect the email, drag and drop it here, right? You don't need to write JSON. It's my favorite part. Subject is something that Google Sheets did not write it. Subject of the email was written by OpenAI. So as you can see here, drag and drop the subject. It has already filled it. Email type, now you can deal with HTML, but for this email, we are sending out a normal email, right? It's not a fancy design, anything. So we're just going to toggle it to text. And for the message, which means the body, we will drag and drop it. And here append n8n attribution, right? Like because n8n is writing it, it is boldly signing its email, but we don't want the person to know that n8n has written it, right? So we're going to click on append n8n and we're going to turn it off. This is on by default. A bunch of other options. You can CC people, you can send replies to a different email, things like that. You can add attachments, but none of those are what we're doing here. What you could have hypothetically done is, right, like have OpenAI make a proposal based on very specific things. If you already know how much you're going to cost for XYZ services, OpenAI will make that PDF. That PDF gets downloaded, uploads to a Gmail drive, then that will be here one of the inputs, and here you could have attached it that, hey, here is our proposal, things like that, right? Or it can just take your portfolio for web development from your Google Drive and upload it. So bunch of ways to play around this. You can also rename your notes, because once you build more and more elaborate workflows, things will get confusing. So here I'm going to just it is by default it is what the node does. So here it is send a message. So it says send a message, but I'm going to rename it to email new lead. Okay, and you're going to see it here. It says email new lead, message a model, things like that, right? So I'll run this in a minute. First I will set up each of the three nodes that we want to set up. Again, connect like this. I'll show this again. Connect like this. And now we're going to add the Google Sheets. Which Google Sheet we're going to use? We're going to update a row, right? Update row in a sheet, because we wanted to refer to the same sheet, the same uh, entry that came in, which is here, the live interested one. It has only one subsheet, and map each column. Right now, how does n8n know which column specifically to match on? So for that, we what can be unique here? If you go back here and if you assume there are a bunch of other people who filled out this form, the only thing you can really expect to be unique is, in this case, email, because multiple people might choose the same services. These can be similar, these can repeat. Time is one thing, they can connect on time, but we're going to use email because uh, time, like you'll have to work with a lot of minute time formats, and uh, we don't have the time to get into that. So we're going to map it on email. If I select they'll let you pick what you want to map it on. You can map it on email, which email you're going to use to match. So essentially, if I drag and drop this email, it will ensure that this is the email it's going to match. You might also want to set this up like if one person requests AI services, you want your AI product manager to follow it, right? An email to go out to your AI product manager, and there's only one person who handles it. So in that case, you might want to map it to, okay, did anyone mention AI services? Yes, then that is what you map on, that okay, that is the one you pick, and that goes out. The email goes out to your AI product manager ki this person has expressed an interest. Uh, Values. So here you just put the email. These are the things. Now these are the things that are form already filled. We don't want to change any of them, so we'll let all of them stay blank. The only thing we wanted to change, if you remember I mentioned before, is the tag and the status. So the tag is something that our OpenAI set, right? So we're going to open the OpenAI node here, and we're going to drag and drop the tag. Status of the contact is something that we will write. So the lead has been contacted via email at. Now you see something called variables and context here, which essentially you can ignore the rest of it, right? Like the name of the workflow, we don't need it. What we need here is now or today. So we can collect the time or the date and drag and drop it here. Sorry. At the end of this. So the lead has been connected via email. And so this turns into expression. If you see here, fixed means it's a fixed point, and expression means it's a combination of content and a bit of JSON. So that it automatically toggles into expression. It automatically reads JSON and turns into expression. So for every single lead, it will say the lead has been contacted via email at this time, right? I'm not going to test this. We're going to test all of these, run all of these three together. uh, and the third thing that we want to connect is our Slack channel. In the Slack channel, again, there's a bunch of options. What we want to do here is send a message, right? So we send a message. I've already connected my Slack account. There also it was very simple. It was sign in with Slack. Okay, sign in. Ho gaya. Send a message to, we want to send it to a channel. I have set up a channel for n8n testing in my Slack. So it will essentially go to n8n testing. Message type, we don't want to do any of these things. We don't want to send any attachment. We just want to send a single simple message. In the interest of time, I'm just going to copy paste the message. Slack. Here, as you can see, a new message, a new tag alert. If you see, this is tag. Google Sheets में से name उठाएगा. Interest will be again picked up from Google Sheets. Budget will be picked up from the Google Sheets trigger as well. They have mentioned it, and it will connect. Let people go back to the Google Sheet to see more details about the lead. So I'm going to copy this. This again, I'm assuming you guys now understand how to make this with drag and drop. This will auto, you see, right now you'll see it's not expression, it's just fixed, but it will automatically toggle into fixed. The only thing we'll need to do here is while copying and pasting, it doesn't. See, high, this is high value. So it automatically made it new high value lead. We'll do the budget and we'll allow them to check. So just put the breaks there. Here again, there is a option of like, this will always say it is coming via n8n. Okay, now that we've set up all of these, I'm going to run each of these and we're going to see how it reflects. As you run every single node, it shows executed successfully. Now, hypothetically, it doesn't go successfully. It will always show you an error here, and you can paste that error in Claude and go ahead. I heard a beep. Does anyone have
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
Guncha.
Here, I was trying to execute something and it says add a column to match during the in the expression section.
Yes, Gunja, this I showed that. I'll open that quickly for you.
Yes,
Uh,
please.
we are using the email to match. So we dragged an email from here and we put it here.
Right.
So essentially,
Okay.
how do you tell कौन से row, what row is to be updated with the new information that we have? Now, to do
Right.
that, we have to map, we have to connect, we have to show it like directed to
Okay,
the
okay. So I chose the I gave a sentence over there, but I don't want to choose the column of status. You're matching with the email.
email is
Okay.
recommended. Yeah.
All right.
So you
Thanks.
drag and drop the email here, and the only thing we are updating is the tag and the status. Okay, I'm going to show the, as you see here, each of these has worked. Uh, Now I'll show you the email. It got sent. I'd put my email, right?
Yes, yes, you did.
Yes, I clicked it twice accidentally, but yeah, you see the email has come here, correct subject line, correct email details, everything is signed off very professionally. It's all perfect, right? The email got sent, as you can see, 1 minute ago. I will show the Google Sheet that we were working with. High value lead, which OpenAI told us, and The lead has been contacted via email at this date and time, which is what we set with that variable on n8n. So this also worked, and I'll quickly show you the Slack. This, by the way, works with a free plan also, like basic Slack functionalities. You just can't save messages beyond 90 days. But I'm using a free personal plan here. I think people can start asking questions because I'm just showing it in Slack that it has worked. There's nothing else
Okay.
left.
So I have a bunch of questions already that are there.
Sorry.
So I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
I'll just use this. Yeah, so as you see today at 12, which was like 2-3 minutes ago, a new high value lead alert, Jim Harper, automated with n8n. It will take you to the workflow also if you want to see it. But sorry. Sure. Check the lead in the Google Sheets because sometimes they might want more details. But yeah, essentially it worked. It got us all the right information. And yes, we can jump into the questions now.
Firstly, thank you. This was absolutely awesome here. But I don't want to waste time thanking you right now. I'm gonna start presenting the questions because there are a bunch of questions that have been asked in the on the link. So the first question is from Karishma. Could anyone connect Instagram, WhatsApp, etc. to include them in a lead management system? As in, can it be trained to read DMs and determine whether something is a lead and automatically integrate it into my
Sorry,
CRM?
Neha, can I see the question? Is it possible
Yeah,
to
I'm
read it?
showing the question on my screen.
Okay, yeah, now I see it. Yes, it connects all of those things. Can manage lead management. It be trained to read DMs and determine whether something is a lead or automatically integrate into my CM. Yes, there will be some error if it's not clear because when a human person is handling, like there's a little more. So if you feed it enough examples that if it says one of these, any variations of one of these 20 things, it is a lead, you can set that and it will just require a bit of prompt engineering but completely doable.
Okay, Karishma, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself since it's your question.
Yeah.
Thanks. First of all, thank you. This was awesome. I just wanted to check. So, this part of it figuring out whether it's a lead or not would be something I would prompt into OpenAI
Yeah.
and determine that.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
With
Thanks.
examples, you can
Yeah,
always
yeah, got
set
it.
examples.
Understood. Understood. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm gonna move on to the next question then from Pooja. How does an anytime workflow for the use
Can you
case
show?
presented? Yeah, I've
So, okay.
presented it. Maybe it's taking a couple of seconds to catch up.
HubSpot and others like it to do the same thing. So essentially, remember I mentioned webhooks, which is sounds very technical and fancy and scary. It is very straightforward. Webhook is basically two apps talking to each other, right? So you set up HubSpot forms. You have a HubSpot CRM. So as soon as somebody fills a HubSpot form, you set the same way the Google Universe works, the same way HubSpot Universe works. I tried to set it up, but I needed a paid account, so I skipped it. But it will take from the HubSpot CRM. It will watch your CRM that every time a new lead is added, same workflow runs. But it will happen via a webhook.
Awesome. Pooja, she has another question which I'm going
Yeah.
to present on my screen, and then if she wants to unmute herself and follow up, she can. If my node needs to fetch information from the internet, for example, I have a Google Sheet of company names, and I need the workflow to find the name of the CEO or find social media URLs for the brand, can the node fetch such information?
If it's publicly available, yes, it will do basic Google searches for you. There's something called Tavily that I like to use for like this, something like this. It will basically go and conduct a basic Google search on your behalf. If the company names are like repetitive or not very reliable or something like that, it might have a small margin of error, but consider it like a stupid intern.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of with all chat
Yeah,
GPT, OpenAI related, I mean AI related search, right? I mean if it's not a unique name, then it's hard to find information.
yeah.
Pooja, do you want to add any follow-ups to this? I think you have another question about the weight node. I've also put that up on the screen. Well, I think you did answer it here about using the weight node.
Yes. don't need a wait node. It's just what we set here right now, because if it email goes out in 5 seconds, it's very creepy. I want to set a wait node because because we're working with OpenAI, right? Like if you have a bunch of leads coming in, it will read 20 leads at a time if 20 people are filling the form and your company is doing amazing. So in that case, you don't want to be signed out, or you won't get signed out of OpenAI, but say you are sending out LinkedIn messages to all of them. In that case,
Yeah.
you don't, LinkedIn will block you if you send one every single
Yeah. Yeah.
So the way I set up LinkedIn outreach systems is I wait for 5 minutes. I have no hurry. It will keep working. I'll go get lunch, but I will never.
Can you set up like a random wait node with the range? You know, like so 30 minutes to 40 minutes, pick a random time, and so it becomes even more realistic.
You can. I think technically doable. I haven't done it myself,
Okay.
but maybe you can just like have OpenAI randomize numbers and give it to you. You can
Yeah. Yeah.
mini or nano, but yeah.
Yeah. Pooja, you've unmuted yourself. Do you have anything to follow up?
No, this is great. Thanks. That's what I was confused, and you did answer the question about the weight note, so that was useful. Here you did just mention that for the grunt work, intern type work, you use something. Was it Tabily? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Tavily.
EAVILY. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Great. So then we had one question about JSON, which I answered in the chat itself. Someone was asking what JSON is. So I've shared a wiki link. But if you want to add anything about that, then
I think you know better.
yeah, it's just like a data format.
Yeah.
Guncha has asked, is there any WhatsApp automation?
You need a WhatsApp business account, but you can do all of these things on WhatsApp as well.
Cool. Guncha, you wanna any more follow-ups?
The only follow up would be here. So if I want to set this up for a SME, how are there any influencers or any tutorial folks who you would suggest we can follow to learn and do it along?
I bunch of people on YouTube, bunch of free templates on n8n.
I mean, the problem I have faced is when I try to find some tutorials and try to do it myself, it's very lame examples like, lead automation. We don't want to do lead automation. I think there was another question earlier from Karishma, I guess, about other integrations.
I think that's why people like me exist, right? Like we understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I am
get in touch
available
with
for consulting, Gunja, and I'm not
Yeah.
very expensive yet.
Well, the dollars that I saw over there in the lead generation, I lost hope.
Yeah.
Karishma, you have a follow-up?
No, I just wanted to add and ask rather that if it's something that isn't basic that you're working with, could you not just prompt OpenAI to maybe give you a workflow and then use that in n8n?
Doesn't work. Claude MCP works somewhat. I am going to do a workshop on it in a couple of months, how to use Claude, couple of weeks. But what happens is like, this is where everybody's problem, right? Like, why is
Right.
OpenAI not replacing jobs yet? Because we are not very good at telling it what we want.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is the first challenge, describing exactly as you want. The second challenge being you'll still have to set up the credentials. It will make a bunch of assumptions. So if you do very good prompting, it can do 70-80% of the work for you. But this is something that's a very common thing going amongst coders right now, that we will fix your vibe coded apps. To fix your vibe coded n8n workflows, if they are straightforward enough and work, great. And you'll also have to do those connection things. You'll be like, why is it not working? Oh, you forgot to connect, right?
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. And like I said, I mean, I think there's always room for like humans to add value to that. So that's not what I was saying. But I think to Guncha's point, where the example is something very basic, like, okay, here's a name, here's an
Will
email, and
exist.
you kind of want it.
n8n has a huge 4,000 templates, I think, huge templates gallery. I recommend them over these random LinkedIn templates that you
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So this is going to be the last question because of time. It's on the screen already from Shia Ritha. Can there be other trigger points besides Google Sheets? If there is a refusal, how do we go about it? I trade and run it again.
Trigger points besides Google Sheets, yes, bunch of databases you can wait for. Any database that can be like an Airtable, that can be a Google News alert. You can set up like those sort of things. Trigger on at certain timings, certain dates, things like that. And I
Okay.
that's it.
But just on that point, so how does it enable in terms of the entry of values, like as the response comes in, how do the values get entered into the sheet when
What we did, right?
people
Drag
use,
and
yeah.
drop. Drag and
Okay,
drop.
okay.
Yeah, you will tell it exactly which specific part of, so in this case we picked the subsheet that it has to look out for, and it got all of like collected all of those information.
Okay, so we
So
just
the
create those areas to fill in those details.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it.
so I feel like the drag and drop is what connects the data, whatever database you use, to your n8n workflow,
Yes,
essentially.
yes.
Yeah. She has a second question, which is if there is a
What do you
refusal,
mean by
how do you
refusal?
You showed it in the, once the
OpenAI,
message is generated,
the OpenAI node?
below that you showed a refusal is null, so we
Yeah.
just proceed.
So
So if there is any entry there.
for every node there was a settings, there was a basic things, and there was a settings tab, if you noticed. So in the settings tab there are a bunch of options. Depends on how much you want to spend, right? Like there are settings that you can run it 5 times and it will stop on its own.
Okay.
And there are ways to ensure that, oh, if that amount is refusal, or if that refusal happens, then your whoever is, so when I build workflows for clients, I set up things like, yes, ऐसा break hua, then the email should come to me that this workflow has broken, in which case I'll be alerted immediately. I'll fix what's required and things like that.
Okay. So this is basically an instruction to iterate that
Yeah.
something is breaking.
Yeah, you can ask it to run multiple times. You can set a token limit that once you've spent this many tokens, stop trying. For something
Okay.
like images, right? It's doing a
Right.
shitty job, and yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna wrap it out now because it's 12:15. He is part of our community, so you can always ask her questions, and
Yes.
her n8n work is amazing. So if you need special help, do message her, get in touch with her. Also, she's doing workshops constantly. Follow her. I will share all her details with
Can I
you.
show one workshop I'm doing just next week? It's
Yeah, sure. In the meantime, thank you everyone for attending on your weekend. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Heer. I hope this was useful. So do keep the feedback coming in so we can plan our next workshops as well. You will get a feedback link in your email from Luma later. So please do share it with us. This helps us, plan our next events for you guys. So thank you. I will pass it on to Heer about her next workshop.
Thanks, Neha. So yeah, what we're doing next Saturday is going to be a 3-hour workshop, very limited, very small. Because I'm going to help each one of you who participates build out that workshop. It is going to be a paid workshop, but you'll walk away with, like, if you face any troubleshooting or anything, it will be done. And I'm going to host weekly workshops. So do follow me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Luma, wherever your jam is.
Yeah, I'll share all her links in the follow-up email that comes from Luma. I will share, all your details and stuff, and then people can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. It was so good. I have like so many questions, and like Karishma said, I want to like experiment with this now and try it out. So I'm quite excited and see if we can like incorporate some stuff into our community as well. It'll make my life easier for sure.
Yeah, I think we can do a bunch of things. I think Tanvi is asking how to join the community.
Yeah, Tanvi, if you just email me with any of the Luma links, you can reply to any of them. I'll get the email. I just need your WhatsApp number, and I'll add you to the community.
Thank you, Neha. Neha made this was my smoothest workshop in terms of organizing. She was helping me all week. Thank you so much, Neha. This was a very
Thank
good
you.
experience.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thanks
Bye.
so much.
Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Neha.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.